You want me to get through everything and do the opener too, and all that fun stuff?
Sure. And then when it comes to the advertisement, just say, and Justin has a message.
Okay.
Then I'll kick things over.
You got it.
Is there anything I need to know or do?
You have to sit there and look pretty
and have fun.
I mean, as you know,
it wasn't going to have fun, but I will now, Jesse.
Not much in news, so we'll have fun with what we have.
Oh man,
yeah. I'm actually surprised at how much news I was able to cram in here this week.
I was gonna say I had a lot of news in our show, so maybe I'll have some things to add that you guys don't have.
Well, there's some things going on, yeah, but definitely as always we'll have the community spotlight where you'll be able to share, of course, the Nintendo pals. So
awesome. Which segment do we say do it? That's where I'll come in and I'll take the Justin.
All of them.
Do it.
all of them.
All right. I'm excited. I'm excited for that. Yeah. I didn't have it last time. I came prepared this time. I'm going to try and remember. Like, guys, no joke. The last time we came onto the show, I had so much fun that when I tell people which episode of your show should you listen to first? I'm like, listen to Nintendo Dad's podcast where we guested. That's my favorite Nintendo Pals episode.
That's funny.
I should save this for the show. I'll save that. I'll share that in the show.
That is funny.
All right. So are we ready, gentlemen?
Woo!
And that's a yes. 3, 2. Welcome to Nintendo Dads, episode 335, recorded on July 22nd, 2021. On tonight's episode with special guest Andros from Nintendo Pals, we talk about Nintendo Japan shutting down the eShop. No more games for anybody. And what we've been playing, we talk about, and our community questions as usual. Jesse, you know what to do. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the show with just myself and Jesse and Andros, our special guest. Andros, how are you doing today?
Yo, I'm doing great. Tim. So excited to be here. As I'm a little surprised that I was invited back. Like, wow, last episode was so crazy, so chaotic that I was on. That there's like no way, but I'm back. I'm here.
You can't do any worse than the Mega Dads whenever they show up here, so you're fine.
Burn on the Mega Dads.
It looks like you're just a disembodied head. Black background, black shirt.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So if I show it off, it's actually my G.I. Joe shirt because I went and saw Snake Eyes just before the show, which is.
Oh, is that in theaters already?
Yes. That came out. It comes out officially, I guess, tomorrow, but you can, of course, see it a couple shows before on Thursday. So
I might have to see that this weekend. Of course, maybe not if it's only the 3rd century. We may have to wait 1,800 years.
Yes, you'll have to wait a little while. With that, Jesse, how are you doing today?
Pretty good. End of the week is a lot better than the beginning of the week. I'll get into that later when I talk about what I've been playing. But yeah, I pretty much worked all weekend.
Yes, that's right. You got called in early, didn't you?
Yeah, but I am taking like most of the day off tomorrow. I have a call at 9:30. After that, I'm logging out for the weekend.
You're like, nice. I'm done.
I was able to flex some time off.
All right. Well, with that, then that's our introduction. Let's get right into the news. And of course, our news is always brought to you by our Patreons at patreon.com/NintendoDads, right? Did I get that right? I can't remember if that's just straight out that way.
I think so, yes.
But as always, we always thank our Patreons for supporting us and throughout not just our show, but everything we do. and they're always there to give us our compliments and always give us any complaints as well. Constructive criticism. So
Yeah.
Constructive criticism.
yes.
Yes.
Constructive criticism. But that's how we grow. Without that, we wouldn't be able to grow. But we're also brought to there. Well, we also are, people are sponsoring us, and that would be Manscaped. And Justin's here to give us some information on that.
Hey folks, what is going on? I want to remind you that support for Nintendo Dads is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming, champions of the world. And Manscaped offers precision engineering tools for your family jewels. And they have just launched this, which is the 4th generation trimmer, the Lawn Mower 4.0. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I have absolutely loved using this. It's lightweight, doesn't feel too heavy. It's got a wireless charging station, which is fantastic. And hear that? You hear that? It is not crazy loud. It's not like a freaking chainsaw, and it's very easy to use. They've got a nice light up here. They've got an indicator down here for whether you're actually charging, and this light here is, this light here is to make sure you know where you're going. And ladies and gentlemen, like, no nicks, right? This is my finger. I'm rubbing across there. This is an absolutely fantastic tool. Now, ladies and gentlemen, of course, when we talk about Manscaped, we always think below the waist grooming, but I actually want to encourage you and think about this as well. I'm going to be very, very honest with you. I'm a gentleman who, believe it or not, is a little self-conscious. And I have always been a fairly heavy man, but also a fairly hairy man. And let me tell you, when summer comes around, I do not feel comfortable taking my shirt off. I don't feel comfortable in the sun. I'm just hairy, kind of like head to toe, I am hair. Well, this is a great tool because it allows me to actually trim my body hair. So trim it off my chest, my arms, wherever I have hair, I can use this. Now, of course, I've said before, do not use this up here on your beard if you're using it down there, because that's just weird and not appropriate. Do not do that. So ladies and gentlemen, of course, as we said before, this is for the family jewels. It's kind of the product it's aimed for. But body hair removal, this is really a fantastic tool, and I highly use it and I encourage it, and it's great. It's made me actually feel confident taking my shirt off in public, which is kind of a nice spot. The fat part I need to work on, but the hair part, at least this helps. But there are two other things I want to bring to your attention. The first one is actually this. So they have these great tools, but they actually have great products as well. This is the Crop Preserver, and this is, as it says, ball deodorant. And ladies and gentlemen, we get up in the morning, we have our shower, we put some deodorant on underneath our armpits, right? These are some sweaty, stinky areas. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's hot outside, things chafe. This is a fantastic product for an area that also probably gets just a little stinky and perhaps a little chapped and perhaps a little uncomfortable. And you don't want that smell. So I use this every single day, just a little dab, a little bit of a rub, feels all right, feels absolutely fantastic. And one other thing that I use a fair bit of now is this hair and body wash. That's right, they actually have a hair and body wash as well. Doesn't smell flowery, doesn't smell fruity. It actually smells really, I'm gonna use the word kind of like guy smell, a manly kind of smell, right? It smells like wood and mahogany and whiskey like and wood. Bourbon and all these kind of things. It's a very manly smell. And I really enjoy it. I think my wife enjoys the smell of it as well. So it is a really great body wash to use. I encourage you to do it. So ladies and gentlemen, I digress. You've heard a lot about it. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and use this exclusive offer just for you for 20% in worldwide shipping with the code NINDADS, NINDADS. Again, that is NINDADS, NINDADS at manscaped.com for 20% off and worldwide shipping. And if you're like, oh, cool, I've got some weeks. Ladies and gentlemen, this is just for the month of July. The clock is ticking, ladies and gentlemen. Manscaped is supporting us for 1 month, the month of July. So if you're on the fence, you're thinking about it, now is the time. Again, head over to manscaped.com, use the code NINDADS, NINDADS, 20% off and free shipping with that code. Thanks very much, and back to you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Justin, for that. And I didn't have to do any of that, so thankfully, because I would be stumbling over my words and everything.
We are looking forward to a shirtless Twitter picture. Now that the escaping is done.
Nope, again? We saved the shirtless for Extra Life. That's the only time we do Justin shirtless. Is Extra Life. That's a bonus for people who...
And the calendar that he's been threatening to make.
Yes. Or if his wife were to tell us, there would be also people donating money to keep his shirt on as well. So it's a battle. It's a battle. Well, with that, again, thank you, Manscaped, for sponsoring us for this for July, and also always again thanks to the Patreons for letting us do this with Manscaped, because we asked them about this. We were like, hey, we're going to be doing this. How do you guys feel? And a lot of people came back and said, do it. As Justin would say, do it.
Do it.
And we're having fun with it. So thanks again to the Patreons for that. So let's jump right into the news, like we said. And our first headline is Nintendo Switch Online gets 3 new Super Nintendo games. So how excited are we on getting that?
I have never heard of any of these games. Well,
I've heard one.
I've heard of one of the Japanese ones, but
I've heard of one of the non-Japanese ones. So let's start with the one I heard of, which is Claymates.
Yeah, that's what I've heard of.
That's the one I knew about. That was one I always rented with some friends and had some fun with. So I never bought it, but it was a good rental.
and now you can rent it again for.
Now I get it for free, I guess.
Well, with your subscription. That's why.
With my subscription, yes. We also get Jelly Boy, I never heard of, and Bamboozle, also known as Kablooey.
Yeah, based on the research I did, I think I had a re-release under the new name, so it's kind of known by both names.
Andros, are you familiar with these? Other than you said Claymates, but how about the other two?
No, never heard of these, and I'm a little disappointed that we still haven't got Plock. They're shopping from the bargain bin. Why not shop from the?
There's a chance
with Plock in it.
There's a chance though. They're getting these games that a lot of people haven't heard of. I haven't heard of Plock until Retro Logic.
Maybe they're saving that for the 11th Fighter Pass.
Yes.
Yeah. Heck yeah, that'd be awesome.
That Retro Logic channel Discord would blow up if that happens, I'm sure. So.
Oh yeah. I'd blow up if that happened.
Everybody would just blow up. All right. So on the Japanese region side, there's Shin Megami Tensei If. Never heard of that.
I have heard of it, but
if what? Like, what do you have to do to get it? Like, is it?
I'm not doing the bases joke here. Not
So
what?
dumb.
Who? No.
I don't understand.
Who's on first?
Who's on first?
Who's on first?
Who's on first?
Right. So I think the Japanese pronunciation is Shin Megami Tensei IF or IFU.
Watch your language, Jesse. Watch your language. It's a family show.
Yeah. Last night I came really close.
Yeah, you did. We'll talk about that too, and what you've been playing.
Joy.
Dead Dance. Dead Dance was another game released in North America as Tough Enough. Tough Enough, is that on our NSO right now?
I think we already have that at NSO.
Okay. And then Bamboozle, of course. Or Bomboozle, excuse me. So some hot titles coming in on NSO.
Lukewarm.
All Super Nintendo and no NES. Any thoughts on that, Andros?
I'm okay with it. Like I think I have everything from NES that I want.
Okay.
And I think they've hit everything big from the NES. Is there anything like glaring omissions from that?
Final Fantasy VI.
Yeah. Well, okay, that would be cool.
Final Fantasy.
Well, I guess that's Super Nintendo. That's Super Nintendo. But yeah.
Yeah. That's.
I was going to say give us 2 and 3, but they never had North American releases on the NES, so that's not going to happen.
Yep.
I have a hard time trying to think of what's glaring as well, and even for the Super Nintendo, I don't know. Can you guys think of anything else other than these games they should be trying to release?
Infrendo
That's
says
Nintendo.
Star Tropics 2.
Earthbound, Chrono Trigger, Mario.
Well, Chrono Trigger
RPG.
would be Square, so I don't know if they'd be able to do that one, but
Mario RPG, which is also partially Square.
true.
But Earthbound, like that's a big one.
That's a big one. Yeah. That's a big
Earthbound
one.
Beginnings, they released that in the Wii U. Why not?
Do you think it's time to we just biding time here for something else to be released for NSO, or should they just, what are they waiting for? Let's get going. Obviously, they usually do more in August or September, but may have been delayed last year because of COVID.
I'm gonna say no. I don't think any more is needed. I think it's just kind of icing on the cake at this point. I know people would love to see the next console, like let's get an N64 online app. Let's get a Game Boy or Game Boy.
Game Boy Advance, I think, would be a hot one, because then you can get Minish Cap, Zero Mission, Fusion.
Yeah, I would love those, but
those would be the bangers.
I don't feel like they are required to put them on there for the subscription service to be worth it. Like, if that makes any sense. I think based off what they're doing with Advanced Wars Remake and with like bringing over Mario AllStars version of Mario N64.
Yeah.
I feel like they're going to take other routes for those.
Okay.
They're not going to do it in an online app. As much as it would be awesome if they did, I just don't think they're going to. I think they're going to use those IPs in other ways and get more money out of those.
Third Strongest Mole says, would they need Capcom's consent for Minish Cap? My initial guess is no, because if that was published by Nintendo, because they don't have any Capcom specific characters like Mario RPG does. That's unique to Square that I know of. At least nothing that has a Capcom's trademark on it.
Okay.
They were just the developer. So I could be wrong, but that's kind of my thoughts.
Interesting. Well, and Andros, I like your take on it about them trying to, maybe not so much go the NSO route with a lot of the games that we would love to have on there, but more of the remake route. Like you said, Advance Wars. So that's an interesting take as well, I think. But one thing that I think is interesting too is if we do get something, either a collection or a remake or whatever, I would think they would try to move a little bit faster, especially to was it the term cash in on, say, Metroid. Like, right. They got the Metroid Dread game coming out. You could see the internet blowing up. Probably more a lot of the Nintendo people, obviously. Maybe not your casual players, but a lot of people just going back to try to play these games, and they're having a hard time doing that. So that's the part where it's like, okay, if Nintendo has the means, and again, I keep talking about transparency, and I wish companies would be a little bit more transparent, but okay, it seems like from a uneducated person's frame of mind, for myself, let's say, from my point of view, because I don't know what it takes to develop or move games to NSO, if you see there's something going on that's hot and you own these games and can get them to NSO, why aren't you doing it?
I like the thinking, but I don't think that they should be 100% transparent there, because their reasoning people are going to argue with. That's what's
well, yeah, they there's always going to be arguments. Nobody's going to be happy, obviously.
Yeah, if they come out and say we're not doing that because we're holding these IPs to maybe do remakes in the future, nothing confirmed, or if they go,
no, I don't mean like say we're doing that type of thing. I'm just saying like
how hard is it to develop those things?
Yeah, it's like you don't have to call out that game specifically, but people are calling for, adding N64 or adding GameCube or adding the Game Boy series. So I'm just wondering, why don't companies like Nintendo or other companies where a lot of ignorant people are saying things like, why don't you do this? It should be easy, then educate us. Tell us some way. It doesn't have to be about a specific game, but come out and say, we look at certain games to bring over, and it takes X, Y, and Z to do that. And that explanation, I think, would help probably more of the fan people like me who want to know those type of things, to say, okay, I understand more. But it also would help us as people who are fans of Nintendo be able to spread that information to others who maybe not know the news routes, if you will, or follow the information like we do. and be able to go, hey, if we're talking to somebody in public and they're like, hey, why doesn't Nintendo just give me my Game Boy games on the Switch? Then we can say, well, I was reading something from Nintendo saying this is why it takes a little bit more effort to do, or this is why they can't do that type of thing. That's the type of thing I mean by being transparent. Educate us. Let us know why this isn't being done.
Yeah, I just think to the talking about porting the Metroid trilogy to Wii U, and there was a former Rare employee that talked about how difficult that would be, and the amount of discourse around and arguing with like, well, they should just put the budget into it, and this and this and this. And the amount of
they should, Andros.
Yeah, that's what. See, this is the problem. When they open up to that level, it just feeds monsters to come in. Whereas when we don't know, what we get is what we get, and we don't throw a fit. Like that's that. Well, no, we still throw fits. People still throw fits, but you know what I mean. You kind of know what I mean here. You don't question.
Nobody's winning, is what you're saying. No matter what happens, nobody's gonna win.
Yeah. I just feel like they definitely, from their perspective, don't want to be transparent. I'm gonna just say that's like not beneficial for them in any way. It would be really nice for those who genuinely want to know like what's going on behind the scenes. And I wish they would at least talk about that for past stuff, like this whole Giga Leak that came out last year. Like it would have been really cool to get a book about these are some of the ideas that we ditched for games from the SNES era, and
getting ahead of it. So
just to a little peek behind the curtain, right? Like that would be cool. I don't know if they want to do that for their modern stuff, because it would just lead to a lot of backlash and arguing. And whereas if you don't know, then they're not arguing. Like people go onto you go onto the Nintendo Twitter, you go onto any social media page, and people will be posting like, why don't you give us Mother 3, Nintendo?
Right, yeah.
And they won't respond. There is no argument. It's
don't feed the trolls. I understand.
It's just complaining. That's what it is. And there's no discourse. Whereas if they come out and go, this is what we're doing and this is why we're doing it, that like opens up a discourse they don't want. Like I don't know. That's me.
That's a fair point.
Maybe I'm being too.
No, it's a fair point. It's a fair point saying that no, it's not a win for anybody, not even Nintendo, not even for us, because then
it'd be a win for me and you, Tim, because we would know and we want to know.
Yes,
and we wouldn't.
I guess that would be good.
Upset.
Knowing is half the battle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Joe. Anyways, these games will be released on July 28th, and so we got that to look forward to. And some of us haven't heard of these games, so I'm sure we'll probably try it at least once. Maybe there's a hidden gem in there. And before we move on to that, actually, let me ask you this. Since NSO games have been digging deep into what games they release, have you found a hidden gem? Is there something you haven't played before and you tried out and you're like, hey, this is actually pretty good. I might try this out sometime or play more of this sometime. When your backlog isn't so bad.
I don't think that such a time exists.
So, all right. Anyways, is there a game that surprised you that you can think of?
None for me. I haven't had a chance. Again, backlogging, but I haven't had a chance to play, and I've been kind of avoiding most of them lately. So, Mole says Spanky's Quest.
Yeah, that was off the top of my head. Spanky's Quest. I actually really had a good time playing through a bunch of that one. I'm cheating here. I'm going to open it up because I know there are others that I'm just like the name is.
No, I don't blame you, because I would not be able to remember much either. So,
but Spanky's Quest was one that I do remember because the name is silly.
Yeah, that is pretty silly.
Yeah, and I like out of like the recent stuff. I'm like trying to think. Eliminator Boat Duel, that one I didn't play. I thought that was like weird. I also enjoyed Baseball Simulator.
Oh yeah, that's right. That one was pretty nice. I forgot about the explosive.
I forgot about that one. That
And
one's one I
then-
wanted to try, but didn't again.
How about
Didn't get a
Mario
chance to.
Picross? I think that one was kind of a deep cut, a little bit.
Oh, and that
And a
one I
lot of
did
people
play.
really-
I 100%ed that game.
A lot of people enjoyed that one. I didn't. I'm not a Picross guy.
Right. Well, I think retro logic does bring attention to a lot of those things. So if you are into anybody listening out there who's into the retro games, I know that those guys over there, Sam being one of them in our chat, brings up a lot of the stuff that either will be in NSO or should be in NSO.
Oh,
So-
oh my goodness. Okay, I don't know. Like this one's kind of a weird one. I forgot. Panel de Pon. Panel de Pon.
Okay.
I've played through the entire game. I love it. It's super fun, and I had not played through it before, other than the American version, which was
Okay.
Tetris Attack with Yoshi characters. I played a little bit
Gotcha.
of that back or on the original. So yeah.
Then
Awesome.
going back real quick to your Mario's Picross, that one, that one was a game that never was released on the Super Nintendo. That was a Japanese exclusive.
Okay. Cool. And speaking of retro logic, they did mention Third Strongest Mole from that show talked about Spanky's Quest as well, Demon Crest, and Vice Project Doom. And then Quag311 also said Puyo as well. So there's definitely some gems in there. Probably, I wouldn't say gems, but there's some things that you weren't expecting to be good in there. So it's good to at least try it once. And
Yeah, I'd say Panel de Pon for me was a total gem. Like I didn't realize how awesome of a puzzle game it was.
That's the one that you and I played, 2-player, right, Tim?
you beat the crap out of me on. Yes. Yeah, you whipped my booty.
What? Jesse beat you at a puzzle game? No way. Just kidding.
I had no clue what I was doing in that.
That
game.
was
Yeah.
that was also, was that the Pokemon Puzzle League style?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That's how I
Yeah,
know.
Pokemon Puzzle League evolved. That needs to come back, y'all. Like let's bring that back.
We'll start a
Puzzle
petition.
League. Yeah.
So, and that's also when we tried the what's that guns game again called? The Wild Guns. I know
Oh,
we
like
did that
Wild
twice.
Guns.
We tried
Wild
it the
Guns
first
was the-
time, and then I had to do it again for Monthly Mayhem. But that's when I learned about the dive and our dodge button that we didn't know about, Jesse. We didn't know about
Right.
dodge. So it was like, oh, there's a dodge button, and it did so much better. It's still a hard game, but so I got further in the game because I found the dodge button. All right, so moving next up on our topic list is Nintendo Japan announcement regarding 3DS and Wii U eShops. We are pleased to announce that the handling of credit cards, by the way, they're pleased to announce this. The handling of credit cards and electronic money for transportation. I think this is a translation, right? So
no, it's not, and I'll explain. it later.
okay. Electronic money for transportation at the Nintendo 3DS series and the Nintendo eShop in Wii U will be terminated at 9 a.m. on Tuesday, January 18th, 2022. After the end, you will not be able to add balances using credit cards, transportation, electronic money. Okay, now I understand what it means. From the Nintendo 3DS series and Wii U. So that means it's the end of the world, right?
No, not yet.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so far this is Japan only. There hasn't been any English or other region announcements yet, and they're just removing the ability to add balances by credit card. So they can still use eShop prepaid, I think they call it repaid cards, but they can load balances on the website, and if they have their accounts linked with their Switch through an NNID, then you can just still load it up on the Switch and spend it on the 3DS.
Gotcha. Yep. So as Jesse pointed out, this is Japanese region only. There hasn't been any English announcements, and but to clarify, people can still add it via the prepaid eShop cards.
I saw a tweet from John Cartwright. Apparently, this has been a thing in England, in Europe region for like 3 years, where they haven't been able to use credit cards on the 3DS.
Okay.
So this is So
I know
Japan catching up.
security's been a big issue too. So, and especially in the credit card industry. So that's definitely, it's not a shocker if people aren't there too. If I haven't seen too much, bad press on this. I guess not bad press, but a lot of backlash on this. Probably because it's just Japan, in the Japan region. Um, but it makes sense, especially if Nintendo has data that shows, hey, there's not a lot of people using this, so let's just cut it out, or it's not viable. It doesn't make financial sense to keep it going. Then it makes sense.
Right. Anyway, so that electric money for transportation, so Japan has mass transit systems, and
Yes.
so it's common for them to have cards that they use to pay for their train or whatever. So apparent, and I didn't know about this until today, but there was a YouTube video I found, and I have it linked in the notes. We can share later if so people ask, from December of 2014, showing that you can, using the NFC chip in the new Nintendo 3DSs and in the Wii U gamepad. Okay, something. I was confused about what just happened, but I get it now.
Our faces just shift.
they can tap their train card on the 3DS to fund the purchase. So that goes away January next year. So something we never had.
Yeah. All right. Well, that makes sense. And so, but we'll keep an eye on that and see if this eventually impacts the U.S. by doing the same in regards to the credit card transactions on those eShops for the 3DS and Wii U. So in relation to that, we have Impact Game Station was contacted by a developer who received an email from Nintendo of Europe's European publisher business.
Oh.
We herewith
He said that.
we herewith wish to inform you that it has been decided to cease
I love that sentence.
the acceptance of submissions
We
for the
herewith wish.
for new Nintendo 3DS and Wii U titles for eShop release by the end of the current fiscal year. The Nintendo 3DS Wii U eShops will remain active and submissions of patches will still be processed until further notice. Please take these deadlines into consideration in your planning for upcoming Nintendo 3DS and Wii U digital releases. Thank you very much for your understanding and continuous support on the Nintendo 3DS and Wii U consoles during the past years.
So basically, starting April 1st, companies will no longer be able to submit new games for 3DS or Wii U. Anything that's been submitted up until end of March will still go through the process, and that process is normally like 3 months, I think they said. So, which means we can see new games still on the 3DS and Wii U up until June of next year, but then that will officially be gone, and we can then say 3DS is dead.
Yes.
And rub it
It's
into
surprising how I think there was one new 3DS game that came out recently too. I don't remember what it was, but it was like out of nowhere. Somebody released the 3DS
we see
game.
the occasional Wii U release as well. It's like maybe not once a month, but maybe once a quarter.
Yeah.
I do see. Well, I do read the press release every Thursday, and I'm like, oh, another Wii U game.
Yes.
Huh. Yeah, it's cool that we're getting support for as long as we are. I mean, with how bad the Wii U did, you'd think they wouldn't keep supporting it as much as they are. So that's cool that they are sticking to it.
Yeah. Yep. But it probably maybe it has something to do with the fact that they felt bad for everybody who did buy it. They want to because I was actually shocked that when I went into GameStop one time, I was in there browsing and I overheard this mom come in with her kids, and I guess I shouldn't say shocked. It makes sense, especially if you got young kids, because they were pretty young. But she said, okay, come, they were in there, and she was like, okay, you guys can pick one game. And they were in there and they were looking at stuff. She said, no, Wii U or something like that. And, used game. And it was like, they were looking around. I don't think they had any left or something like that, or they were done selling that stuff. So it was just like the kids couldn't find it. So,
well, I think they moved like a lot of those 3DS and Wii U use games to online.
Yeah. So it was,
I think last time I looked, I think it was literally one shelf in the middle of the store with that's shelved with other like a shelf of PS4 games, a shelf of Wii U games, and a small shelf of
Right.
Wii games still because 100 million units.
right. Yep.
My local GameStop keeps them not even on the floor. You have to go and ask, and then they're like, "This is what we have inventory wise,"
Yeah.
and then they go and pull it out of the back for you.
Yep. That might have been what happened too. Then maybe they had some. Then.
It's a bummer. It's fun to go to. Like that was part of the GameStop experience. It got replaced with just like junk merchandise. Is what it's the problem. It's like, okay, well, here's some more
Like when
Star
they
Wars and Marvel
bought ThinkGeek.
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. That's when I remember, like you said, when they had a lot of that stuff in their retro collection or whatever, or back catalog stuff. You can go in and sometimes you would find that game you didn't get to play, or those gems that are harder to find that were traded in, and you'd snatch it up right away because GameStop doesn't mark them up. They always sell them at a good price.
Yeah.
So but now it's definitely harder.
Unless your name is Xenoblade Chronicles.
Yeah. Or that. All right.
$50 new, but $70 used.
Yeah. Next on our list of topics is Square Enix says that Dragon Quest XII, The Flames of Fate, will shape the next 10 to 20 years of Dragon Quest. What do you think of that, Jesse?
I do not like that statement at all. I have a feeling they're going to Final Fantasy 15 that game, and I am not going to be happy. I'm not the only one who's not going to be happy. But the problem is, I think it'll bring more people, and it'll sell more copies, because Final Fantasy's been doing it, and it's not because it doesn't sell. So, I don't know. I'm worried about this game.
I'm sorry. Well, hopefully it turns out better for you, and then you'll be like, okay, cool, 10 to 20 years of this is awesome.
It's so difficult to strike a balance when you're trying to access new markets, because Dragon Quest, you might say, is pretty niche, right? It's very tailored to a specific audience.
Definitely. 8 opened it up, and 11 opened it up more, but yeah, it still doesn't have the impact of Final Fantasy. It never did.
And
here in North America, in Japan, it was the king. It outsold Final Fantasy.
Yeah, so for them to find a good way to be faithful to the series and to the fans that are currently there, and also make it inviting to new players, it's hard. That's hard to do. My thought immediately goes to Breath of the Wild. Did a really good job with that for longtime Zelda fans, and then for people new to the series. That's probably one of the best spots to jump in on Zelda, right? Because it is so friendly to newcomers.
And then they get shocked when they play an older game like Skyward Sword that came out last week.
I can't wait to talk about that. I can't wait to talk about that. But yeah, that's a hard line to straddle, and I don't know how they're going to do it, but yeah, those statements like that definitely sound like we're leaving where we were and we're taking this in a new direction.
Yep.
Which
it's a gamble.
Hey, if it's Breath of the Wild level, it magically will appeal to Jesse and to new audiences somehow. I don't know how, but maybe they can do it.
Yep. That's always the gamble you take when you want to try to change up a formula, right? So is it going to be receptive? And especially if you're trying to maintain that audience, you're going to lose some people, but
it could be a Skyward Sword. It could be a step. It could be a step towards the next thing, right?
Could be.
And people will hate it because
which is like Final Fantasy 13 was that first step into changing it up, and that yeah.
So I'll hold hope for you, Jesse. Fingers crossed that Square doesn't. Square never messes up.
What are you talking about?
Oh gosh,
Infrendo
is this in the news?
says-
Are we talking? Are we going to talk about? Are we going to talk about Square's statements on? They'll port the classic Final Fantasies if there's demand.
How can they not know there's demand?
It's such a bad read of what people want. No one wants those on PC. Okay, well, not no one. I'm sure there's plenty of listeners out here that are pumped for him to be on PC. But I think the audience is in the consoles. That's where they came from, right?
Yeah.
I just
I'm looking at you, Disney Afternoon.
oh, goodness. I can't believe that they come out and go, yeah, we'll gauge interest, and then we'll put it on to the consoles if there's interest. It's like, how do you not know that Final Fantasy has huge interest for consoles?
Right.
They just put that on Switch. It could be a horrible port, and it's gonna sell like crazy. It's gonna sell like crazy because of the name. That's all they need. Bah. That's my Square rant.
It goes back to what I was talking about again with the transparency. It doesn't have to be specifically that game, but again, maybe it's not the companies. Maybe it is a developer that comes out and says, "Hey, this is not as easy as it sounds to port something over from one place to another or whatever." But again, just being ignorant in it, it seems like, okay, you're putting it on PC and you're putting it on a mobile. Why aren't you putting it on Nintendo device like the Switch, especially since a lot of those games were on a Nintendo device to begin with?
Maybe they knew about the Steam Deck. Maybe they knew.
Maybe they knew.
There's inside information.
Hush you. Hush.
Infrendo says, what if the graphics have different themes, fantasy, boy band, or hand-drawn graphics? The first thing I thought of when he said boy band was Tokyo Mirage Sessions.
And you're fine with that?
That's a great
good-looking
game.
That's a good-looking game.
It's an awesome soundtrack. But it's just like the mobile gameplay I'll talk about later. I don't like it. And, I don't want MMO-style combat. That's why I haven't played a Xenoblade Chronicles game since the first time I tried, or first two times I tried, and didn't get past the first few hours. And, Final Fantasy 15, I rage quit the tutorial. I'm like, no, I don't want this. This is not the gameplay I want to play. So it doesn't matter what it looks like. If they screw up the gameplay, I am not playing it.
Makes sense. And that's when we have to rely on the indies to come out with a Final Fantasy type game from the classics.
Aren't we getting there's a game that was announced that's like basically Octopath art style?
Yeah, the triangle.
Not that. No, that was an indie title.
It was a Dragon Quest III remake.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Not that one.
Oh, I know what you're thinking of.
I can't remember the name though. But it's not it's indie, right? It's
yeah, that was an indie, and I don't remember.
Yeah. And it looked better than the other ones. I thought they all looked good. I think that's a great art style. But yeah, they looked like they were doing some cool stuff. So yeah, Tim's right. We can always rely on indies to come in and pick up the slack, give us what we want.
I think I know which game. I have to look that up.
I can't remember what it's called. I'm sorry, y'all.
No, that's gonna bug me.
All right. Well, while
you get off the show. Get off.
While he's looking up that, I'll move on to the next news item because it's Pokemon Go stuff.
Oh, I guess I have a job to do.
So, Pokemon GO Fest 2021, which was last weekend, made a little bit of money for Niantic.
Wait, Jesse, I got to know how was it for you? Did you like it? Did you have a good time?
I did like it. I had fun with it. Up until Sunday I guess it was Saturday when I had to get pulled off of it to work. But I still streamed 3 hours of it, and then did a little 15-minute end of a part 4 that was off stream that I uploaded. But I had fun with it, and the Mellowetta. It's a Mellowetta. It looks nice, and they had a whole musical theme thing around it, so you can choose between a rock Pikachu or a pop Pikachu. And
I dug that. It's cool. It was really well done.
Then they actually have animated poses for the avatars with them, That's pretty cool. Anyway, so through the 2-day event, trainers caught 1.5 billion Pokemon, walked over 125 million kilometers, fought in over 23 million raids, and spent over $21 million.
Whoa! That's a lot of monies. A lot of steps. Wow. Awesome. Great job.
So, I know Niantic did have some, in select cities, some more of the traditional real life type of event, in addition to the worldwide digital event. I can't imagine that they're going to want to go back to only a physical event where they have a finite number of tickets, which means there's a finite amount of money they can make.
Yeah, that's true.
They make far more. I can't talk anymore. They make a lot more money at making a worldwide event. I'll say that.
Good grief! Yeah, that's so much.
Right? Were you able to find the game yet, Tim?
No.
Okay.
No.
So
someone in chat has to know what that game's called. Someone.
No one's spoken up yet. They normally do by now.
Oh.
So
where are you guys?
So I have some game release updates. I normally don't include games that were released yesterday, but this one I felt like I had to include. There's the Crash Bandicoot Crashiversary bundle. So 5 games in one bundle. So there's the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, so the first 3 games. Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, and Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. It released yesterday, marked down 40% of its retail price down to $60 until the 27th.
A full price game for 3 games. Plus, one of those games has 3 games in it.
Yeah, so basically 5 games. And
wow.
if you don't want the racing game and just want the first 4, they have a Crash Bandicoot Quadrilogy bundle, which has the same 40% off down to $41.99.
Oh, that's a yeah. Why are you why is anybody paying $20 for Crash Team Racing? Just go buy the other one. Yeah, that's awesome. That's so really good price.
So yeah, those discounts are there until the 27th, and then
I didn't know about this.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, that I just saw Twitter blowing up on it yesterday when it happened. When people just saw it on the eShop, it was completely unannounced. It just happened. And then Road 96, which was mentioned in an India Direct, and I think it was a Microsoft's event during E3, has a release date of August 16th.
Excellent. That one looks interesting.
It was also at the April Indie Showcase for Nintendo.
Yeah, that one I'm interested in. And then the last item I have in the notes is people following the PlayDate. Pre-orders go live next week, Thursday the 29th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. I'm gonna.
What is that? Is it a game called the PlayDate?
It's a game console.
Oh, the little
with the crank.
fishing pole, the crank.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm like, what are we talking about?
I don't remember the details, but I think if you get it, they have, I think, 12 or 14 games that you'll get for free, kind of drip fed to you over several weeks. So the first bundle comes with the purchase, and then after that's done, if they have additional bundles, there'll be an additional purchase later. And it'll just a Wi-Fi enabled device that you just have it on the charger, and then it'll just automatically download the new games when it's released, and you can play it. I don't remember what the price is on that. I guess I'll find out when I try to pre-order it next week. I do plan on trying to get a pre-order of that. I think a few of the other people, some of the hosts and some people in the Discord were also looking at it.
For which one?
The Playdate?
Playdate, yes. Definitely. I have it saved in my phone, ready to go. The webpage is open.
It was too pricey for what it was for me, personally. But Who knows? Maybe that'll change. That'll be something I'm interested in. See how it reviews. I guess.
I like
That
I like
website-
stuff like that.
I tried going to what I thought was the website that is not the website.
Yeah. Yeah, don't search PlayDate.
Yeah, don't Google PlayDate.
Yeah, you got to be careful there.
It's the website is play.date.
Yes. So, but I like stuff like that because it's different, it's new, it's and it forces developers to develop games that are unique, which we've seen with Nintendo products when they don't have full power, or they had when the Wii came out and the Motion Plus and all that kind of stuff. People are getting creative, and Nintendo gets creative with that stuff too. Even with the DS, developers get creative with the touchscreen and using new puzzles with that and stuff like that. So that's what I like. That's
So the system is $179. Includes the full season 1 of games, 24 original Playdate games delivered weekly at no extra charge. Does not include shipping, but you do get a very nice yellow USB-C to USB-A cable. And then there's also a stereo dock coming soon. They don't say how much that is. And then there's a cover for $29.
Yeah, so
Which looks
like
like
the
this
dock.
little thing that wraps around it. Yeah, the dock looks
cool.
nice.
it's definitely another unique thing.
And the dock is a Bluetooth speaker.
Nice. And yeah, that's what I was thinking of having as my alarm clock on my desk, on my nightstand at night. But we'll see. We'll see if I am able to get it too. So, because we'll see how crazy that the internet gets with that.
Hey,
of course.
pre-orders on anything physical game wise,
Right.
gonna be a nightmare.
Exactly. Yep. So I am trying. I cannot find the game. I know which one I'm trying to look for. I just don't see it.
Okay.
And it's not coming
Oh,
Friendo
up.
says, is it Sacrifier? And I just did a quick search, and I think that is. Sacrifier, an article from Nintendo Life. Sacrifier looks a lot like Octopath Traveler.
Okay.
And it could be, and that's
Good job.
coming, and it could be coming to Switch.
Yeah, coming to 2022. Friendo, you win. That's it. That's the one I was thinking.
You got bragging rights. All right.
I gotta say it. Super Nintendos.
Yes.
My Seth Macy impression. Thank you, Super Nintendo. Seth, you're awesome. I know he listens to the show every week. Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Sure, he does.
Great.
Yep. He's always knocking on our door to try to come on the show too.
Oh
every
yeah, I
week,
know.
so.
He's always trying to get on our show too.
I know, right?
All
So-
of IGN, we have to turn him down. We're like, we have too
we
much.
have to spread them out, so they're not saturating the community with NVC stuff, right? That's
It's
how-
it's no offense to them. We turned down Reggie already.
yeah,
We can't, if we're turning down Reggie, we're turning down.
yeah. We don't have time for you, Reggie. We don't have time
So
for you.
if Bill ever asks, we're not refusing him. We want.
Yeah, he
we
gets a
want
fast
Bill.
pass. Fast pass to the show.
All right, Jesse. Pokemon GO Fest 2021. What do we got going on there? It looks like we got money. They made a little bit of money there.
Oh,
While
I
you
already
were
talked about
were
those.
looking up the Sacrifier,
Oh, you
he
guys talked about
actually
that
went
already?
through that whole segment. Yeah.
I missed it. Darn it.
Yeah, so if you want to go back to it and have questions, they made $21 million.
Twitch.tv/Nintendo Dads. Check the VOD.
Yes.
There you go. I'm plugging.
Yeah, that's hopefully they can make a little bit of money with the new Pikmin game they're coming out with, right? With Niantic.
I completely forgot about that. But
I forgot about it too. Pikmin Fest 2022.
That's right.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Pikmin
I'm waiting
Fest.
for the Niantic crossover. The like the Marvel Cinematic Universe is the Niantic gaming universe.
Ingress Cross Go.
Yes, there you go. With all the games they got going on there. So, all right. So that would be the news then. I think you covered everything there. So let's move on to events. excellent impression, Andros. Thank you very much. Justin's do it.
You got it. I'm here. I'm here for you to be Justin.
Among Us free trial for NSO subscribers started yesterday and goes through 11:59 Pacific Daylight Savings Time on the 27th. And also, if you like it and you want to join in on Among Us community time that we do in the Nintendo Dads every now and then, and I know that you guys do it in Nintendo Pals every now and then too, right? It's 30% off until August 1st. So instead of the $5, you get it for $3.50 instead. So get it while you can in the eShop.
It's fantastic. I love the Switch version of that game. I purchased the PC one before the Switch was announced, and I also had the free mobile version. Yeah. So I have all three versions.
You have options. That's called options, right?
Yeah, and of all of those, Switch is my favorite. No bias, being the Nintendo Pals, but it's special. And
anybody's holding out on this game because it's like either you tried it for free and you did it with randos, random people. Everybody has said they have much more fun playing the game when you do it with people you know.
Yeah, I won't play with randos, but I'll play it if we have a community game day, pretty much any time.
Yes, which we're hoping we can get to do this hopefully sometime this weekend. So, but again,
if anybody is interested, the Nintendo Pals community is doing community game night tomorrow, Friday.
There you go. So there you go. Friday night, got one going in the Nintendo Pals area, and then probably Saturday, I'm guessing sometime we'll have something going on. So
nice. It's just a party.
Among
Us weekend.
Mole says friendos, not randos.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
Friendos. That's why it's Ninfriendos. All right. Pokemon GO Events. This is all you, Jesse, right? This is your show.
Sure.
The Pokemon Go show.
I need to find it now because I scrolled up to add something into the notes. Okay. So Dialga will be available in level 5 raids starting July 23rd at 10 a.m. through August 6th at 10 a.m. local times. Then also announced today, August Community Day will feature Eevee. So Saturday, August 14th and Sunday, August 15th from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. local time. There'll be an exclusive special research story, What You Choose to Be, available for $1, kind of like normal. Egg incubators activated during the event will have 4 times the effectiveness. And incense and lure modules activated during the event will last 3 hours each. There will be additional bonuses available starting Friday at 10 a.m. through Monday 10 a.m. If you evolve an Eevee into any of its evolutions, the new Pokemon will know a special attack. Vaporeon will have Scald, Jolteon, Zap Cannon, Flareon, Superpower, Espeon, Shadow Ball, Umbreon, Psychic, Leafeon, Bullet Seed, Glaceon, Water Pulse, and Sylveon, Psyshock. And any Eevees hatched during the event will know Last Resort. If you want to evolving an Eevee into a Sylveon will only require 7 hearts instead of 70, which is normal. So you'll be able to evolve it a lot faster. And there'll be a special timed research available that rewards a Mossy Lure module and a Glacial Lure module. They're required if you want to evolve Eevee into Leafeon or Glaceon. And then there'll be a special one-time purchase Community Day box available for 1,280 Pokecoins, featuring 50 Ultra Balls, 5 Incense, an Elite Fast TM, and an Elite Charge TM.
Yeah,
this is where I'm supposed to be, Justin, right?
It's time to wake up.
I actually like listening to that section.
Yes. And actually, while I was reading that off, I just sent a screenshot of your notes, Jesse, to my daughter because she's been playing Pokemon Go. So,
it's really cool that they're bringing in all the stuff so that you can do the level ups of all the EVs, like the special things that you need to do that, making it easy.
I don't know if you've noticed, but I added in the Pokemon room in our Discord, whenever there's another server that I follow, has an announcement room where they post all these infographics. And whenever you have an announcement room, you can subscribe to it and then whenever they post something, it automatically posts where you want it. So that I was actually surprised to see that work as well as it did. So
it works out very nicely. I told my daughter about that too.
Yeah, so there's always something new at least once a day in the
Yes.
a new infographic to look at with
She said that she actually, when I told her about it, she does look at them, but she gets a little confused by all the information on it.
Yeah, sometimes they are info heavy, but once you
Yes.
get used to it, they read the same more or less.
Yep. Gotcha.
Gonna be degrees someday in Pokemon Go chart reading.
Well, that's our events. We can now move on to what we've been playing.
Do it.
Inferno says, if the effects of incense last more than 4 hours, please contact your physician and have your Pokeballs checked.
Oh. Excellent. And now that since Andros, you're doing so well at the Do It line, we don't need Justin on anymore. So you are now going to take over his seat and just come on and just be the guest and tell us, do it every time. So
Yeah.
Andros,
right.
as we do every time, we start with our guests first. What have you been playing, sir?
All right. First and foremost, and most what I've been playing is Skyward Sword HD on the Switch with these bad boys right here, some special edition Nintendo Switch Zelda Joy-Cons, because I'm playing with motion controls. I'm using tilt controls. For the Mario Kart fans out there.
Beautiful.
Speaking of beautiful, this game is gorgeous. Holy cow, it looks so good. It's like everything. Like, I just want to take screenshots of it looks like a painting. You're playing a painting. And if I recall correctly on the Wii, it looked a little muddy.
Okay.
And if you look at them side by side now, like, wow, it's the HD has made a big difference.
Yeah, the Wii version was 480p or 480i if you only had composite cables, and that's one of the reasons why the art style looked like a watercolor painting, which added an intentional blur, so it looked nicer on a CRT.
Yeah,
which doesn't look as good on modern displays. So.
Right.
But it actually looks but it shines as a really artistic style now, I'd say.
Yeah.
I don't know. It looks really good.
I saw a comparison video last week or when the game released, and the same blur effects on the Wii are still used on the Switch, but since higher pixel density, the blurring effect is more concentrated on certain points. So it's even a tree in a distance still looks a lot more detailed than before, even with the blurring. So yeah.
It's pretty. It's very pretty. And in addition to that, the music is amazing. Holy cow, it is so good. The soundtrack for that game is like one of the best video game soundtracks ever. I forgot all of the songs. Remember the main one, the harp, that main tune. But there's
Can you do the whole song like that?
Yeah, you want me? I
sure, go for it.
I streamed the game and I did voices for all the characters, and I was like, I'm sorry guys, I'm not singing this part.
Justin was doing the same thing. He was doing like voiceovers for everybody.
Voice for Zelda. I apologize to everybody who had to suffer through that. But yeah, so speaking of that, like the characters, wow, there's so much personality in every character. You go up, I completely forgot about Rupin, the shop owner in the bazaar. You go up to him and he's a super smiley, happy guy. And then you walk away from the counter and he goes,
yeah,
and walks away like pouting because you didn't buy anything.
and if you say you don't want anything, he has like a real quick instant
gosh, just deadpan like glare at you, like
Yeah, like he's
and then goes back to being happy, and it's so funny. And then if you talk to him at nighttime, 180'd his personality. He's kind of a grumpy man. Like he's real grouchy. Like, and you can mention it. You're like, why are you so different? He's like, I don't want to be like that all the time. Just pretend this isn't the real me right now. And I'm like, oh, I relate, my man.
That's funny.
No, I don't.
I have worked retail jobs before.
Yeah. And then everybody in the bazaar is like a personality, but everybody in Skyward, just
Everyone is bizarre.
everybody's got such character and charm, and the dialogue's so fun. My favorite. Oh, okay. Well, I can't say that. But one of my favorites is Beetle. Beetle. This is probably the best Beetle out of all the Beetles, personality wise.
Okay.
Because he has the same kind of thing where during the day he's Beetle, wow, and the thank you, like over the top. He's biking his shop around, but at nighttime he turns into an eloquent gentleman that speaks in fancy, fluent words.
That's hilarious.
Like, what mattereth it that I speak differently at night? Like that is like literally what he says to you, and it's so funny. I love it. I love everything. I love all the characters. I love it. So story-wise, like it's all great.
I think my favorite part is if you go in and then you try to leave without buying anything.
Yeah. I haven't done that because I don't want to offend Beetle. Beetle's my favorite. But if you do that, he trapdoors you out of the shop because he's mad because he has to pedal extra hard with the added weight of an extra person on there. And he's like, you didn't even buy anything? So he like pulls this thing and you just drop out.
That's hilarious.
Oh, so fun.
Well, Beetle shows up in our Discord every once in a while, right? He's got his own shop set up in our Discord.
He does, yes. Beetle.
He gets around.
Is everywhere. He's everywhere you need him to be. Wow. So all of those elements to the game, fantastic. Quality of life improvements, so great. Like they fixed everything that I think anybody could complain about. Maybe you could say the pacing at the beginning is still a little slow, but you can skip through a lot of cutscenes and dialogue, which you couldn't do in the original. So it does streamline it a little bit. They would have had to kind of resequence things in order to make it any shorter than they did. And it makes me really appreciate games like Breath of the Wild that just drop you in and still teach you how to play. So I have a greater appreciation for Breath of the Wild's intro Great Plateau, like one of the greatest tutorial zones I'd say ever designed and built. So there's that. The beginning's a little story heavy to get you going to where you're actually suited up in the tunic and going into dungeons. But the dungeons are great. I'm liking those a lot so far. The combat is good. It's good. It's not my favorite Zelda combat, but it's not bad. Like, people are like, I hate the motion controls. I think it's serviceable, and I think they built the game around that very well. And you don't even have to use it. I have not used the button controls. I want to give that a try before I give this game like a full solid review. But what I've done of the motion controls has been serviceable. I miss having a pointer, like a sensor bar, because you could always center by just pointing, whereas with this, you do have to recenter with a button. I do have to do that pretty frequently.
Yeah, I found I've had the more problems with it when I'm dousing.
Yes.
And I actually came across the same problem I had playing Pikmin 3, where I was trying to keep the pointer steady while I'm dousing, and I'm not moving, but the little pointer is starting to go down, so I have to lift up a little bit to bring it up, and then it drops. So at the end, it's pointing straight up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, this is not cool.
Yeah, I have that a little bit happening as well. It's a minor annoyance when in the grand scheme of the game, to me. So don't write this one off, y'all. Don't listen to the Skyward Sword naysayers. It's very fun. If you like other Zelda games, this is a must play in my opinion. It's actually one of my favorites in the series. I don't know what it is about this game that compels me. I want to collect everything and get everything. Breath of the Wild didn't even do that for me. I wasn't I'm gonna go get all 900 Koroks and get every shrine.
Why not?
For this game, I really want to collect everything because it's a manageable number of things more than Breath of the Wild. But yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
Cool.
Yeah.
In my Breath of the Wild, I did do all the shrines, but I did not get anywhere near. I think I might have gotten a little over 200, or a little under, but out of 900, that's still a small fraction.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my Skyward Sword glowing review.
Nice.
Yeah, awesome. People complain about Fi, Fo, Fum, the helper character in the sword.
Fi.
Or Fi, I guess.
Fi.
Yeah.
She's like not there, not intrusive at all. Only comes up for really important stuff. Maybe makes me a little sad because I liked her as a character. But yes, she did pop up a lot. I wish there was. You could still like pull up and talk to her optionally, but yeah. So it's great. Everything about it is improved. It's a classic Zelda game. It's not Breath of the Wild, but it's a really good 3D Zelda. And I could gush on it all day. Items, wow, so cool. Flying beetles? Wait, like that's like the coolest idea ever. Put that in Breath of the Wild. Let's get some good items in Breath of the Wild.
Maybe they will, because they reference this game a lot when in regards to the sequel. So
can we get some loft wings in Breath of the Wild 2?
Yeah.
Yes. I really want those loft wings because I don't remember it being fun. When I played it on the Wii, I don't remember flying the loft wings around. I remember maybe I'm tainted by the complaints, like there was nothing to explore in the sky. But flying the bird around is so fun, and maybe it's my imagination just going like, what if we could do this in Breath of the Wild? How amazing would that be? It'd just be so fun. Oh. All right. I gotta stop. I gotta cut my Skyward Sword off.
Is this the game you've been just focusing on? Nothing else? Or?
I have played other games. So I also played a little bit of Ocarina of Time. They're not played and streamed a little bit of Ocarina of Time. Enjoyed my time with that.
Nice.
And I played Mario Golf after I got really frustrated trying to execute a wrong warp in Ocarina of Time. I spent an hour on stream trying to do this trick that requires very specific button inputs. I will not stream like a thing like that again. I'll do easy glitches. I'll still do glitches, but not like that. That was just too hard for me. Other people are really good at it. So I unwound by playing some Mario Golf.
Gotcha.
And had a blast with that. And then lastly, today, I tried for the first time Pokémon UNITE. So yeah. Okay. And I don't know. I kind of want to hear Jesse's thoughts on Pokemon Unite so that I can come in and sandwich it with some positivity because he didn't like it very much, but I really enjoyed it. So yeah, that's it. I played 2 matches. I had my crying baby in my hands while playing, but even still, it was fun. And maybe it wouldn't be as fun solo. Like it might not be as fun playing by yourself, but I was playing with my co-host Micah, and we had a blast.
Well, let's talk about the Pokemon Unite a little bit more then, Jesse.
Yeah, Justin's in the chat. He goes, he assumes I hated it, therefore he thinks he'll love it. Which, he's not wrong. Yeah, so
he's like, oh well, Jesse didn't like it. I'll like it. That's how it works.
Yeah.
There's only 2 types of games. There's Justin games and there's Jesse games. There's no in between. Like that. That's
yeah. He plays Fortnite and Apex. I play Picross Pokemon, except for not Pokemon Unite. So I did try this game yesterday. I did it on stream. It was about 45 minutes. went, fought through the opening setup and like nitpicked every UX issue I had with the game, which is very unusual for a Pokemon game. So like the one that bothered me the most was like during a part of a dialogue, my left hand just decided it was bored and wanted to do something, so it nudged the left stick a little bit. Normally, nothing would happen, but no, this game goes. I'm like, this game is giving me a no sound for hitting the left stick during a dialogue.
Hey, stop that!
Right,
don't be touching the left stick.
That's
Read
the
that
type of
dialogue.
noise. That's the type of noise I do to my dog when he's trying to get on the counter. That's the no sound.
Yes.
So yeah, like the player customization was very small. Not that you ever see your avatar in the game anyway. So
True.
What's the point in that? So yeah,
Because you get to wear cool shirts. I mean, they're pretty cool. I like the Snorlax hoodie. Did you see that?
I gotta
That
have
was pretty
somewhere to spend my money.
cool. That was pretty cool.
I didn't get that far. Anyway, so I did the first 1v1 practice match against an AI. That was like a 5-minute match, and I'm like, and the person says, you understand what's going on now? And I'm like, no, I have no idea what's going on right now. And so it put me into the first 5v5. That I somehow not only was on the winning team, but was the MVP. So I'm like,
Wow, you did
Good
really
job.
good. How did you not have a good time?
I there's no way I would have been MVP. I swear I was up against 9 bots. There's no way.
Is it
I
the first?
could've-
Was it the first match?
Yeah.
Because
very
they
first
do.
match.
They do put you in with
Yeah,
bots for the
it
very,
is with
very
bots,
first one.
But
Yeah, the
but they
first
make
one.
it sound like you're not. It's like Mario Kart
Yes.
on mobile.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
They
yeah,
make
yeah, yeah.
Don't do that. If you're gonna put me up against bots, tell me, and I'll have it be in a different mindset. I was up thinking I was up against real people, up until I got 200 points and no one else scored more than 100. Like, no,
Yep.
I do not believe that at all.
Well, you were right.
So, but yeah, just for newer people who don't know newer listeners who don't know my likes and dislikes, I don't like pretty much if a game has PvP mode, I don't like it. Like there was this game I played on Xbox, like Monster Collection. Casey and NVC loved it. I forget what it's called. It's kind of like a Metroidvania with Monster Collection, like Pokemon, that actually had turn-based battles. And I liked
know
it.
what game you're talking about, and I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, I liked it up until the point where I went head-to-head with other NPCs like a PvP fight. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. So that's when I stopped playing. If that whole element would have been gone, I would have been fine and continued playing. But I don't like PvP. Like, I don't play Smash, I don't play Splatoon, didn't play ARMS. That's not my game. So, Tim, do you have any other questions or comments?
Well, I was going to ask you, would it be like Among Us? Would you be able to play with others? Would you enjoy it more if it was with others you knew?
I don't think so, because there's Among Us at least gives me options to do. I can choose I can choose to screw around and do my own thing, but here you only have the one task, and you're like, if you don't do it, and if you're up against real people, then you'll probably get kicked. Presuming that they have the ability to vote you off.
Gotcha.
Like a reasonable multiplayer would.
I'll mention mine real quick because I played it also a little bit, just kind of, I guess, the tutorial parts with the first PvP, 5 versus 5 with the bots. And I enjoyed that time, but I'm still, I'm still leery of playing against other real players, because although I do enjoy it, I don't enjoy it for long because I don't play it as long. And I was talking to Justin about this before, was games where you have to play against other people, you tend to have to get good at, right? So you can compete and all that kind of stuff, or at least be helpful if you're on a team. And I don't play those games long enough to do that. So I feel like either I'm a burden, or if I am playing against other people, I'm not having fun anymore, because it's like, okay, I'm trying this, I'm trying this, I'm trying this. Okay, this is not fun anymore because I'm getting beat bad. People have been playing this all the time. They know the ins and outs of it and all that kind of stuff. So that's why I'm still kind of holding my breath on this, if you will, to play more of Pokemon Unite. But I'm glad it's free to try and keep, playing around with it, which I'll do, just to see how it goes. And I do like, right now, it just seems, I've been having a lot of fun with it just because it seems pretty simple right now, for me at least. I don't know how much more difficult it's going to get with, like I said, the ins and outs and, adding other components or whatever and stuff like that. But right now, just keeping my health up and destroying the other team and taking the ball and putting it in the goal and making points and all that kind of stuff is, to me, it's like I'm unfamiliar with these type of games, but it's like, is this really all that's going on? I'm sure there's got to be more, but I'm not familiar with it.
And the one thing I didn't understand initially until like the second game is each goal has a maximum score. So like it could be 50, it could be 80, it could be 100.
Is that depending on the level that it's on too? Like there's
I
a lower
think
level
so.
and upper level.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think the one in the
The farthest away.
at the opponent's spawn point, that one
Yeah.
might be infinite.
Okay.
But the ones that are in more midfield, like they have a limit. So if once someone scores 50 points on the goal, that goal is gone. So
Gotcha.
which gives you a balance, which makes it harder for the winning team to score more points and easier for the one losing team to try to catch up.
Yeah. That's
So
what the
also they-
Strongest
once I
Mole was saying
understood
too.
that, I got it and it makes sense, but I didn't know what was going on.
They're essentially like little towers that once you take those out, you move towards the end base. Because if you leave those and try and go towards their end base, you actually go slow.
But then there
it's
was
a little
also
slowdown.
there was another Pokemon that comes in, like a legendary Pokemon or something, in the center of the stadium or whatever you're battling in, and then you have to battle that as well. So
No,
You don't have to.
You can,
But
I
if the
ignored it.
opponent gets it, they get the bonus that they get.
yeah.
So
There's certainly other things going
Yeah.
on that I'm slowly learning, but
it
it
sounds
seemed
like
more like a Pokemon sports game to me than anything else. To me, is what it seemed like.
Yeah.
it sounds to me like neither of you guys have played any MOBAs prior to this, right?
I have not played any.
I am not.
I launched Dota 2 once and I said, I have no idea what I'm doing, and I uninstalled it.
Okay, that's the problem. That's the problem with a lot of MOBAs. I am not a MOBA player. I know of MOBAs. I know what they do. The most I played was like a week of Heroes of the Storm, which is like the Warcraft version of a MOBA, and this is very watered down by comparison to those. For sure, it's a lot simpler. It's a lot easier to get into as a newcomer because there's a lot less going on. For something like Dota 2 or League of
It's a
Legends.
gateway drug, is what you're saying. I gotcha.
I don't know. I think simpler doesn't necessarily mean like it's. It could mean it doesn't last as long because there's not as much depth to it.
It's at least
But I think-
approachable to more people.
It's approachable to more people, and I think there is depth there with strategy on what you're picking and like how you use that character's power up sufficiently, and your strategies for because like we played 2 matches, and I think you have a squad of 6. Am I
5. They're 5v5.
5v5? So in your squad of 5, you can choose to split that group of 5 up however you want. In the first match, my co-host Micah and I, we stuck together as much as we could in the games because we could communicate over Discord call, right? It's easier. and so we kind of tag teamed taking objectives and stuff. But in the following game, when we started, all 5 of us went down one path. Everybody went down, and we came across an enemy player. It's like, oh, he's gone. Can't go across everybody. It was like we were like an angry Pokemon mob. Like, oh, and it just, and we that didn't exactly work, because then when they came from the back end and from the sides, we got kind of destroyed. But it's all about like movement and placement. I kind of think of it as like a chess game, but everything's constantly moving.
Yeah, because if your opponent doesn't have any points banked in, then you don't get anything for taking them out. You might get some experience, but you won't get any points.
Yeah, it's a constant game of trying to like get your opponents tied into a corner where they're forced to do, and you're just slowly trying to push your score up and push towards their side. And it's I'd say it's a fun. MOBAs are a fun. Well, obviously they're a good game. I mean, League of Legends pulls in so much money, and
there's a lot of people
players.
who enjoy those games. Yeah,
and this is going to be a good one to someone who hasn't played a MOBA before. And I think, I've played one before, but I never got into it. I think I could see myself getting more into this game, especially because it's free and you can squad up with up to 5 people. That's
nice.
That's always a cool thing, if you can play multiplayer that everybody can get a hold of.
Well, and speaking of squatting up, we were kind of talking about squatting up on Twitch possibly trying that out. Yeah,
squad stream. Yeah, we should. I'd be out for it.
Nice. So, all right, Jesse, back to you and your games. Obviously, Pokemon Unite was not your game, but you played other games. Well,
oh yeah, I do want to pitch in here in Jesse's defense. I do not think that the MOBA formula is for everybody. I think it's for a lot of people based off how successful League of Legends is.
Yeah.
But it's not for everybody, and I don't think this game specifically is going to be for everybody. It might be a little too simple for what some people want, but it might be just right. Like, I can see myself playing this game with my kids. I could not do that for League of Legends, for Dota 2, for Heroes of the Storm.
That makes sense.
No way. But I could play this with my kids for sure.
That makes sense. Okay, so I talked about Pokemon Go. I did stream. Oh, well, let me back up. Again, I did a stream of Unite last night. If you want to watch me get frustrated, it's there. I did, play Pokemon Go and did streams of that as well. Though the third part is only 7 minutes, because as soon as I went live, my boss's boss called me. So looks like I guess can't continue with the stream. And then I did a part 4 off stream to wrap things up, and that's where I show the Mellowetta event finishing up.
Nice.
Okay, Mario Golf Super Rush. I did the monthly Mayhem week 2 tournament submission. I got around 23rd or 25th again, about the same as last week, even though I did not score as well. So I'm surprised I got as high as I did. And then I played a few rounds for week 3, but haven't submitted my score yet. I got a +3 at first, and then I got a -3. And the next round I play with Yoshi, I'll level up to the 2-star clubs. So tomorrow or Saturday, I'm going to try to play twice. Once to get him to level up the clubs, and then to use those new clubs and see if the score improves any. And if not, then I've got my -3 score screenshotted that I can submit. And then I played Skyward Sword. I haven't gotten very far into that yet, partly because of the weekend. I was wanted to play that most of the day Sunday, but I was working Sunday. I haven't gotten to the first dungeon yet, so I'm still really early in the game. I'm like the very opening scene where you have to find you meet the Quick. What are those
Kikwi.
things?
The Kikwi.
So you find the elder Kikwi and 3 others. So I that's as far as I've gotten.
Did you play the original?
Oh yeah, I've played through. I think I played through the original twice. Once on launch and the other probably 3 or 4 years later. So
Nice.
long enough that this is still more or less new to me.
What's your comparison? Like if you're talking like your experience before, do you think it's improved? Do you like what you've done so far?
Yeah, I'm having fun. The game itself seems, other than visually improved, the game is still the game. I don't think the gameplay's changed much outside of the quality of life stuff that we know. I am also playing it detached Joy-Con motion controls. That seems to work fairly well, except for the times it doesn't. But most of
the free camera is a big thing for me.
I do like the free camera because I find myself when I'm moving around, like especially in a circle, I'm not moving straight and then changing my direction to left. I'm moving straight and changing the camera to change which angle straight is.
Yeah,
that's kind of how I normally move around in games like that.
Yeah.
All right, so those are all my games.
Very cool. And before we get on, I just noticed that Third Strongest Mole asked any thoughts on which Pokemon should be added to Pokemon Unite. And Mason actually replied saying Waffle Buffet.
Yeah, Wobble Puffet would be great.
Wobble Buffet?
That's right. I haven't played it enough to know.
I had
yet,
a really
so.
good one. I had a really good one on our show. It's Magikarp, but there was another one. Magikarp, I think, would be fun, where you're useless the first half of the match, and then you level up and you're like super OP Gyarados. So you're
Nice.
You're a late game. I think that would be fun.
That's
and there was another one where I was like, oh, Bidoof. Yeah, you gotta throw in Bidoof. Just put in like the goofy.
That sounds like a noise.
You don't know about Bidoof, Tim?
No, I don't. It just sounds like a noise.
Pokemon Go did a Bidoof event a few weeks ago.
It was Bidoof Day.
Yeah, it was for Bidoof Day. It was insane. Like Bidoof wild spawns everywhere, like as a community today.
It's a meme. It's a meme, Tim. It's a little beaver that is kind of dorky looking, kind of doofusy looking. So Bidoof, a beaver doof, and he's just people cherish that guy to the point that Nintendo, he took over Pokemon social media for a little bit.
Okay, that's right. All right.
Similar to Groose. Groose took over social media.
Yes.
And I didn't even talk about Groose. I love Groose.
That's hilarious.
I love Groose. He's great.
All right, Jesse. So that was all the stuff you played, right?
Yep.
All right. So the things that I played was Mario Golf as well. I finished up late last week for week 2 and got my scores in, and then I just submitted my scores for Mario Golf Super Rush for the monthly mayhem. So I got a -4 on it. So I was happy with that. So I just submitted it. I usually just go with, because I'm like, I don't know how much time I'm going to have. I'm going to submit this now. And then if I have more time, I'll try it again. And maybe, just say, hey, Drew, here's my updated score.
But I don't think he's allowing updates this time.
Oh, he's not? Okay.
No.
Well, I just go with that score then. So, but I've been playing that, and of course, Pokemon Unite. And then the other one that I did a Let's Play of for Ender Lilies, the Quietest of Nights. It's a Metroidvania game, essentially, action RPG. And I mentioned this, I think, last week, but just I'm really enjoying it. The visuals are beautiful to me. I'm loving it on the Switch. And it is definitely a Metroidvania. Now, when I first saw the video for it, it kind of got some Metroidvania vibes from it, but it didn't say anything about being a Metroidvania game or anything like that, or gave any clues of that. But it was like when I started playing it, I was like, this is totally Metroidvania. And then somebody, when I was streaming it, mentioned that it gave them some Hollow Knight vibes as well, because you use spirits in the game and I guess Hollow Knight does spirits as well, where you have to collect spirits. And I also
Hollow Knight's a for sure Metroidvania. So.
Yes. So, and I kind of mentioned that it kind of gives me the part of Mega Man where you have to go beat a boss to get their powers or get their abilities to be able to go beat the next Mega Man boss. There's kind of that element in this game as well, where you go and you beat a boss and you get their spirit, and their spirit is how you can attack and stuff like that. And there's certain levels of strength behind that as well. So
kind of reminds me of like Bravely Default, how you gain new jobs is by defeating someone that has that job, and then you take their item.
Yeah, so I do like this, and the story is basically you're a young lady that was woken up by one of the spirits that needs your help in figuring out what happened to this town. That basically a disease took over, and they got taken over by what's called the Blight, and you're trying to figure out the story of this town and what happened to these people and to the priestess that was supposed to prevent this from happening, I guess, is what I'm gathering so far. So, and I don't even know if this lady was supposed to be the priestess or not, but it's a very unique story intertwined in there as well. Very unique art style, and it so far I've been having fun with it. So, but that's mainly what I've been playing is just those three things. And just recently, like I said, the Pokemon Unite was the most recent. So although after watching today's EA Play Live with Justin, I'm kind of intrigued by the new Apex Legends update that's going to be coming out soon. So with the new character they had there, it looked pretty cool. So did any of you guys watch the EA Play Live at all?
I did not get a chance to tune into that.
I was in and out watching it while in the chat.
Yes.
While you guys were
I mean, that was the only Switch thing was the Apex, right?
I think there was something with Knockout City as well. But
There was Knockout City, yes, but then there was also Lost in Random, which they gave more information on, and a release date, which is September 10th. And that's
is that the
by
one
Zoink.
where they said, for PC, for consoles, and for Switch?
Yeah, that was the one we were talking about. Where
implying the Switch isn't the console?
Exactly.
Oh,
it was like, did you catch that? Exactly.
I forgot about that. Yeah, I remember Jesse like, well, that was
call that out. So I thought that was very interesting, but the game looks fantastic. I mean, this again, the art style kind of gave me the Tim Burton kind of feels.
That game looks really good.
So, and of course it's Zoink, and I've loved every game I've played from them so far. So,
I mean, their name is Zoink. You gotta play their name. That sounds like a cool name.
Yes. And of course, they've always been there to help us out with a lot of things by giving us codes for games and stuff like that, because they're linked with, Image and Form and all that kind of stuff. So I'm looking forward to it. And it looked kind of fun because it looked like it had some card mechanics and possibly even dice mechanics, because one of the characters is a die. So I just thought that was very interesting. So if you haven't checked that out yet, go check out that video for Lost in Random, which it will become.
That sounds like the Dungeon Dice game again.
It does kind of sound like it. It did have, like, again,
Dicey Dungeon. That's what it's called.
Dicey Dungeons. Yeah.
Tim, like we don't want you to go anymore, Tim. Spoilers. The character dies. The character dies.
Yeah, somebody dies. Someone dies.
Oh, dad jokes on the Nintendo dads. I'm here for it. So that reminded me. Have you guys heard anything about Spelunky release date?
Nothing yet.
I've been keeping an eye on that, and it's still marked as summer.
I'm watching like a hawk. Yeah, summer's almost over.
We still got a whole other month to go.
Summer just is only a month long. We still have 2 months to go.
We still have another month to go. Yeah, so we're good.
2 months to go.
We're good.
September counts as summertime?
Until towards the end of September.
Yeah, September 19th is still summer.
Oh,
not until autumn starts.
That makes me sad. I want this game now.
Yep.
I don't want it in September. That makes me sad.
Yes.
For
But
some reason, I thought it was coming in July. I like put the date in my head and disappointed myself. You know.
I would not be surprised if we get an indie showcase sometime soon, which you will get a drop for that.
A shadow
So,
drop. That'd be
yeah.
sweet.
So we've been getting those tinglies, you know, where we feel like there's an indie showcase coming.
The tinglies?
The Tim
Yes.
the Tim senses tingling.
Yep.
The Tim Tingles.
It's his beard fairy powers.
Yes, my beard starts tingling right here. It's like there's you know how people get arthritis or whatever, or really bad arthritis when it's gonna rain or something. My beard tingles.
Or the knee.
When there's a new direct coming.
When there's a new director indie showcase coming, yes, it's coming.
Wow.
The Nintendo Dad's lore has deepened tonight.
Yes. So with that was what we've
That's
been
what
playing.
happens when we do a show for almost 7 years.
Yes. That's what we've talked about, what we've been playing. Now let's move on to the community spotlight.
Do it.
Since we don't have anybody here to talk about their show, no, I'm kidding. Andros, go ahead. You get to talk. You get to spread the news of Nintendo Pals.
Listen, just go to the Nintendo Pals podcast and listen to it. Just do it. If you like this show, you'll like that show, like extra, like that show, because
Nintendo Dad's extra.
it's this and more. Because you know I'm here, so this is what it is. But we have Micah. That's all I can say. You know,
You have a Micah, yes.
We have a
you
Micah.
have that.
Okay. Well, the Nintendo Pals is a podcast. It's a Discord. It's a gaming community, all about Nintendo, and we focus all of our attention on Nintendo stuff. It's really hangouty, is how a lot of people describe it. Like our show's way hangouty. I don't know what that means exactly.
That can be taken the
we're
wrong
friendly.
way really easily.
Yeah, we're pals. We're
It
pals.
depends on
is
who
what it
likes
is.
to hang out. And you might want to start worrying about that.
Maybe I need to work on the elevator pitch a little bit. We'll take "hang out" out of the term. We chill and talk Nintendo, y'all. That's
There you
what
go.
that's what we do over with the Nintendo Pals.
I don't know if that's any better.
Jesse. I'll
Nintendo
have
Pals and chill.
Nintendo Pals and chill.
No title.
I don't have Nintendo Pals and chill. I don't have a good. I don't know. I'll have to have Jesse write me a good elevator pitch for our show. But we have fun over on the Nintendo Pals podcast, and we also have a Twitch channel. And we are speedrunning right now to 100 followers, and we're trying to get 64 subscribers. I have agreed to shave my head. I don't know how I got roped into that. If we get 64 subscribers,
You're gonna do the Micah shave, huh?
and no, Micah's not shaving. Micah has agreed to do a hot tub stream.
Well, I mean, because he shaved his head already.
He
you know?
already cut his hair, and
He already
it
cut
doesn't
that hair.
It doesn't hurt him like it will hurt me, like my
Right.
emotional
Yes.
well-being. Anyways,
Don't
we
give
have,
Dan and Drew any ideas.
We have we have a lot of fun over there. We have social medias for. We are on TikTok. We are on Twitter. We are on Instagram. So just come give us a follow on all those platforms. We would love to hang out with you. We have a lot of crosstalk with Nintendo Dads community members, and I'm active in the Nintendo Dads community. I love being there. This is one of the greatest communities ever. We were talking about this before we hit record in the pre-show, that that people ask, like, what's your favorite Nintendo Pals episode? Like, which one should I listen to first? I go, well, listen to the episode of Nintendo Dads that we were guests on. That's my favorite Nintendo Pals episode. It's not
Yes.
even on our show.
I missed that one, so
We have a lot of fun on our show.
Yes.
You could just jump in on the newest one, and you'll just enjoy it. Yeah. Okay. That was the longest elevator pitch ever. I'll work on this next time.
I guess you're going to the
next
80th
time.
floor.
Next time. And if you, I'm just hitting the close button on the executive, and also we have giveaways and yeah. We're good.
Well, thank you again for jumping in, especially for when it's just just Jesse and I, because that would make for too short of a show. So thank you for helping us.
Didn't you guys just do this last week or the week before?
Like twice in the last month.
Yeah, we've done
it.
Hey,
anytime. You can call us up. Call Micah. Micah's always he's always hanging out.
The first time it was during the first episode we talked about Doki Doki Literature Club, and someone asked where are the others. I was going to make a DDLC style joke, but the game was too new. I didn't want to say anything yet.
I probably didn't finish it by then either. So
they got deleted by
that was the joke.
Yeah,
that was the joke.
Yeah, they got deleted exactly.
Well, they're too busy hanging over on the Nintendo Pals community. Just kidding.
So again, thanks for coming over, and of course, we always invite Micah to come along too. So because he's very chill.
I gotta come onto this show when Marty's on. Every time I come on, Marty's gone.
Hey man, you boob!
Yes,
you
Marty, you boob!
No, you get the Marty effect.
Yes.
No, Marty, we love you. But we had Marty on our show a while back, and even then, he had to ditch early. He had to.
He's a busy guy.
Yeah,
he's a busy guy.
He's hard. He's hard to podcast with. It's a premium podcasting. You have to pay top dollar to get Marty on your show.
Yes.
That's why we had to turn down.
We get him a hotel room and everything. I know how it is.
Turn down Reggie because that slot was already for Marty.
Yes.
That was what we had to do.
Yep. And you have to make sure his room is at a specific temperature and his car rides at a specific
69.8 degrees.
Yes. Yep.
Celsius. It's really hot. It's really hot.
I was going to say something like, make sure you have all the green M&Ms separated from the yellows, but that was a funnier joke.
That was a dumber joke, that's for sure.
Well, like I said, thanks again for coming on and sharing all this fun. And again, make sure you guys watch and listen to the Nintendo Pals and help them spread the word so that they can get their subscribers and
followers,
get their numbers, followers and
good.
subscribers.
Make those biggie numbers bigger. That's what we're all about, right?
We're all trying to do that, right? So, let's move on to our favorite part of the show, which is read what the community is sharing with us. And the first thing we got is a question from an email from Russ G. I don't really believe the Steam Deck is much of a threat to Nintendo or the Switch any more than gaming PC has been a threat to the console environment in general. There's definitely room for both. That said, is there anything you hope the Steam Deck will perhaps influence Nintendo to improve or change? I have two areas I'm wondering if the Steam Deck will influence Nintendo on. One, that Nintendo will have to ease up just slightly on Nintendo tax on NINDADS, as these games are usually cheaper on other platforms. Plan Nindy for a 5 spot on the Steam Deck or 15 on the Switch.
That's true. I didn't think about that. That's a good point, Russ.
And two, I wonder if it will pressure Nintendo to bring more of its back catalog to the Switch sooner than they would without another portable system out there. The Steam Deck will likely very quickly be able to play every Game Boy, GBA, N64, GameCube, Wii game that the emulation community can get going on it.
Oh, and this thing can run Windows, so that's already done.
Do you think Nintendo will care, or that this will spur them on any way to bring those games to the Switch sooner versus later? As always, thanks for the great podcast, guys. And yes, Nintendo will care, especially if it's an illegal way of playing games.
Well, ultimately, they won't care. But if you try to stream that content, then they will.
Yes.
But I don't know if you can stream content off of the Steam Deck unless it's docked and HDMI'd out. Then you can. But then, as I said last week, you're just do this on a computer.
Right.
You can download Windows. Can you stream from it directly?
You probably could.
I probably could. This is getting weird. This is getting weird levels of like.
But you're
what
limited,
is the stream?
you're limited to a single. Outside of the dock, you're limited to one screen. So it's while you can set up OBS and then have it run in the background. Yeah, it's doable. But yeah, I don't think it'll be pleasant, especially because that GPU I think is going to be pushed pretty hard, especially on newer games, and OBS uses the GPU when it does this encoding. So if you're trying to do both at the same time, you're having your efficiency.
Yeah.
So do you hope there's anything that will influence Nintendo to change or improve upon for the Switch, like say Switch 2?
I think it might influence what their next level CPU, GPU are, but I don't think by much, because still ultimately they don't care. They've never cared what PCs do.
But if they get developers to chime in, do you think they'll listen to developers saying,
they haven't yet.
Okay.
What
about RAM?
I could see the price thing being a thing that Russ was pointing out for sure. 'Cause Steam indies on Steam are dirt cheap during sales and whatnot. So maybe it will bring down the Switch tax. I'd like that, but I also don't really think it will because Nintendo
I think
does
the main
what they
reason I don't think it's as much of a Switch tax as opposed to Steam's getting the bulk discount, because you can a Steam purchase is a Steam purchase, whether it's on a Steam Deck or any other PC or Mac or Linux for games that are compatible. But you can only play Switch games on a Switch. So I think it's more of a bulk discount than Nintendo adding on to the price.
I think it would be cool to see the Nintendo Switch open up to more options, because this is going to have a lot of freedom on what you can do with it. Installing Windows on it, I don't see Nintendo doing that, but I could see them there's been rumors for a while, let's team up with Microsoft and get some sort of Game Pass thing going with the Switch. So I could see them pairing with other companies to get their launchers as part of the Switch and maybe reaching out that way.
What do you think if the Switch 2 added touchpads to simulate a mouse for games like Mario Maker could take advantage of it. Game Builder Garage can use a mouse. There are a few other games that can use mice through a USB, but this would make it natively work. Think that might be a thing, or nah?
I don't know. I don't think they'll make any games that are designed for mouse keyboard.
They did add the little nub on new 3DSs, which mimicked the right stick of the Circle Pad Pro.
Yeah.
Do you think Nintendo would be successful at doing something similar to what Steam is doing or Valve is doing in regards to this device, where they have 3 different price points for the same device because of the varying options you can get on it? They kind of have that. They're starting down that path, it seems like, with the OLED model. But do you think it will be successful and not be like, okay, they have the OLED model and then eventually OLED model will replace the OG model?
I think Nintendo...
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jesse.
So I could see Nintendo probably having multiple SKUs. They did it with Wii U when it launched. They had an 8 gig and a 32 gig. Apple's been doing this since day one of iPhone 13, 14 years ago. So I think in the future, sure, we could see a 64, 128, 256 gig systems that will be 150 or 250 more than the base.
Is there any more to the Steam Deck different options besides memory? I think there's more to it for the more expensive models. They also have
minor differences, like the highest model has the fastest access to storage, where it actually uses M2 as opposed to just solid state like an iPad or a Switch.
So I could see minor stuff like that, and then being a big price point. But yeah, the memory thing would be big.
I think the high end has a better screen slightly. I don't remember why.
They're doing that. They say this OLED is...
No, I'm talking about the Steam Deck.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, yeah, that's what we're doing, right? OLED's a little bit more expensive. It's got a nicer screen. Yeah, interesting. That's a good point, Tim. It does seem like they're going that way. One thing I thought was cool is that these are just kind of, you just plug them in. They're like plug and play. So maybe in the future we don't have a dock. Maybe the Switch just plugs in straight USB and it can stand, like as is. And maybe it's like Switch Lite size. That would be cool.
One thing I do hope like the new Switch would have that is part of the Steam Deck is have where in the micro SD card slot, the newer devices will have extra pins to support faster speed cards. Basically, it opens more simultaneous connections at once. It's still backwards compatible with older cards. It'll just be slower. But like if I get one of the super speed cards and put it in the Switch, that'll also still work at the slower speed because the Switch doesn't have the extra pins to take benefit of it. But the Switch 2 could definitely use that and get faster load times, which will probably be beneficial if the games are bigger. If they do go 1440p.
Here's some. How about I'm gonna take this question opposite. Here's some things I hope they don't do. I think that this thing looks bulky. It doesn't look very comfortable on the thumb. For having both the joysticks way up there, I don't want them to do that.
Or even the D-pad, the buttons even further up there.
And then like the whole thing looks kind of thick cube wise. I liked the handles design because the Joy-Cons do feel a little weird. Like they feel like they need more on the back to hold on to. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, my mind just went somewhere else with that. So
yeah, I'm not even gonna give it to you, Tim. I'm not even gonna take that goat. Yeah, that's I think that it looks like a Sega Game Gear. It's huge.
Yes,
it's a big brick. It's not as sleek looking as.
Does it use 6 C batteries?
That would be actually yeah. We should do that. We should bring back the C batteries.
That is why it's doing that.
Yeah.
All right, Rusty, very good question. Thank you very much for writing in. And of course, as we say anytime, you can be like Rusty and the next question from Mecha Dragon 101 as usual, and email us your questions anytime at nintendodads@gmail.com. So with that, Mecha Dragon 101 he emailed us and said, what retro game is basically mandatory for every retro game collector to own? Specifically for NES, Super NES, and Nintendo 64. For example,
I still don't like to admit that N64 is retro.
For example, every collector should require to own all 3 Mario games on NES and Super Mario World on Super Nintendo, and maybe Link to the Past on Super Nintendo. No, that's a must as well, Mecha Dragon, not a maybe. Anyways, looking forward to the podcast tonight, Dads. I'll see you all soon. So, as a retro game collector, this question probably would be a good question for the Retro Logic fellas over there. So,
but we're gonna not. I'm not a retro collector, and I'm gonna still answer it for you.
We're gonna do our best.
I'm gonna do it.
So, specifically for the NES, Super Nintendo, and N64, what is a mandatory retro game that a collector should own?
Besides stadium events.
Yes.
I don't know.
NES is hard for me. I just feel like The Legend of Zelda and Mario are the musts. But you already mentioned Mario.
It seems like if you have an NES and you're a collector or you're a collector for NES games, you have to have the World Championship cart if you're a serious NES collector. So that's a mandatory right there.
So yeah, we now that you just spent like $1.4 million on 2 games.
I think I'm gonna work backwards because it's easier for me to think of ones for N64.
Okay.
Ocarina of Time is a must. As a collector, you need to have a copy of Ocarina of Time for the N64. And I will also throw in, you already mentioned Mario 64, but for that one, I'll also say, Star Wars Racer is probably another must-have for the N64.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So I'll say
Makes sense.
Ocarina of Time and Star Wars Racer. I have it right here. Star Wars Episode 1 Racer is
There
the
you
title.
go.
It's a very fluent title. Yep. So that's what I'll say for that one. For the Super Nintendo, I mean, yeah, we already. It's easy to just say Mario and Zelda. So I'm gonna try and think of not Mario and Zelda games.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking of games that I like, which may not necessarily be games
like
that everyone
must-
likes as
a must for
previous
collectors.
examples. So like Final Fantasy 2 and 3, 4, which really 4 and 6, but North America messed up the numbering.
You have to have Chrono Trigger.
Yes, yeah, that's a must. I
On the
don't
Super
have it, but
Nintendo.
you have to have it.
That's a must, definitely.
Yeah.
Super Metroid, excuse me. Super Metroid. I mean, it's
Mario Paint.
Mario Paint.
Mario Paint's a must. Yep. That's my pick.
SimCity, you got to have that
Oh, SimCity 2000. That's pretty fun.
because I had it. You got to have it.
Mario Paint is a gem of an insane.
Did SimCity support the mouse? Or
I think
did it?
did.
I don't know.
Something
I
like that.
used the controller, so
If not, it should.
I agree.
And then for the NES, I can't think of anything that's like a must. Maybe maybe just Tetris.
Flintstones. Gotta have Flintstones for the NES.
Yeah, I mean only the real collectors have Flintstones.
Exactly.
I think Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade.
Yes, that is a good one to have. A lot of people have, or the pro wrestling. I think is a good one. If you're a collector, will have that. And Flintstones, actually, if I remember correctly, that one is a lot of money because it's not a good game, but because it had a limited run because it was towards the end of the life cycle for the NES. If I remember correctly, it's like a super expensive game to find as a collector. And for me, the N64, going back to N64, I'm going to try to do my best Marty impression here. And not his voice-wise, but you can take the N64 and throw it in the dumpster, and you don't even need to collect that. No.
Wow. Yeah. So this is
Wow.
kind of like
Woo!
while I have
Some
I have
Marty
a collector's mind in that once I buy something, I never want to get rid of it, but not to the point where I feel like I need to get everything. Like I don't
Right.
have every amiibo, I don't have every game of any system, etc. So ultimately, get what you like.
Right. Yeah.
Some people like every amiibo. That's the thing.
Yeah, because it's obviously
Those
it's
poor people
harder.
have
Right.
empty wallets.
It's harder to collect now than it was just a few years ago. It seems like so. It's basically if you're going to collect, hopefully you've already been collecting or you inherit a collection somehow because it's so much harder to find, or you're collecting the things that bring you joy, what you're happy with. Like I collect some things, like I love Metroid games. I played all of them, but I did not keep a lot of them because of as you're going through life, if you're not making enough money and you want to buy that next system or the next big thing, you have to trade in or sell some of your stuff. So there was a lot of my games I had to sell. But now I have a little bit of extra money when I can. I tried to buy a lot of those games I like the Metroid trilogy for the Wii. I was able to find that and buy that at a decent price before the prices went up too crazy. So so those things that bring the nostalgia factor, being able to go back. I had a good time with that game and I wanted to own a copy of that game. So
Yeah.
That's why I have that as part of my collection.
Yeah, the reason why I'm having a hard time thinking of games to play is, people, they say around every the console is considered retro after about 20 years, and that's when, if this was new to you as a kid, you now have enough disposable income to actually get back into it as retro. So I'm old enough where, I played NES, fell out of it, got back into it as retro, and then fell out of it again.
Yes.
So there's not a lot of NES games I can think of that I would want to try to get a hold of again. It's weird. I don't know.
Me personally, I have not ever traded in a game. I've never sold back a game to try and get a newer
That's
thing.
awesome. I obviously there's certain either you're just determined enough to keep it, or for some people,
I knew it was an option. That's
all right.
That'll do it too.
Fair enough.
So I still have my entire childhood N64 collection. We got my entire childhood SNES collection.
That's awesome.
Almost all the Wii games that I ever purchased, and I'm glad. So if you're a young listener, you're a teenager, you're in your early 20s or whatever, and you still have that stuff, and you can summon the willpower to just hang on to it. I mean, you're gonna thank yourself later.
Yep.
And then maybe you won't, because like Jesse, you'll fall back out again. So no, you'll thank yourself later, going man, I'm glad that I held on to these and I can pull them out again and try them.
So I just thought of something later, Tim, that might make you feel old. So we think of anniversaries in terms of North American release, but in Japan, Famicom will have its 40th anniversary in 2 years. It was released in 1983.
Yep. Yep. We're a little behind on that celebration, but yeah.
That's old.
Yes. But again, Mecha Dragon, every week is a really good question. Thank you for that question.
You're awesome.
Hopefully we had a lot of fun with that. And I would say pose that to the Retro Logic guys over there. I'm sure they'll have a lot of fun with that as well. All right, so moving on to another question, but this time from chat, from Ninfrendo. Do you think the self-imposed limitations that Nintendo has on their systems led to innovations in pushing hardware? For example, Super Mario Bros. 3 at the end of the NES life cycle, Star Fox with the FX Mode 7 chip, where recent generations have stronger processors for great graphics and power and storage, but seem to move on before squeezing everything out of that machine.
100% yes. Yeah, 100%. That's
I think what's more of an issue, not really an issue, but more of an impact of why we don't see as much pushing in the modern systems is the limitation isn't really in the hardware anymore, but in the engines. So many games are going Unity, going Unreal, etc. And very few games are actually written from the ground up for hardware. Even Nintendo games are writing things in Unity sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's more that.
Yeah, there's that. I really like this point that Nintendo makes, though, because you do see it, that Nintendo maxes out the hardware that they use because they tend to be a little bit behind on the latest and greatest. Yet they're making really, really cool things, because when you don't have unlimited power, you have to compensate in other factors, and they've nailed the fun factor. Okay, we have these limits, and
making the game small too. They've nailed that, obviously, thanks to Iwata.
They make
Pokemon compression.
Yeah,
they make these games that are so fun, and they don't need to be on the latest and greatest hardware. That's just I think back to like the original Super Mario Bros. And how they didn't have enough pixels to like give Mario the definition they wanted, right? So that's why he has a mustache and a hat, because it was hard to.
Well, even that goes back to Donkey Kong, which had even fewer pixels.
They couldn't fit the detail to give him the full face that he needs. Like, you don't even know what Mario looks like until you get to the Super Nintendo. Well, actually, I mean, Mario Bros. 3, he looks pretty good there. But like that's, they made a character, an icon around this limitation that became, and that's like a small piece of what they do. Like, I think about what they did to stretch the limits of the Wii and the games that they did on that. And yeah, it seems like working with limitations forces you to become more creative in other departments.
And there's another thing I thought of. With all of his little examples there, with the exception of Mode 7. Mode 7 was something built into the Super Nintendo, but everything else, they weren't part of the NES hardware or Super Nintendo hardware. They were additional hardware added into the cart.
Mode 7 was also.
No, Mode 7 was no, that was native to the system. So,
no, it was the FX chip. Sorry,
the FX
chip.
The FX chip was part of the cart. So
yes.
Even like Super Mario Brothers 3, there's an additional processor on the card that allows for the simultaneous scrolling horizontally and vertically. That's why like Kid Icarus doesn't do it.
Here we go, guys.
One or the other.
We're gonna start getting 4K Switch carts. There's gonna be an extra processor in that thing that's gonna be pumping those games out. We're gonna be getting sweet stuff.
My point is, you can't do that anymore because digital. Everything's digital.
Reminds me of the batteries that they put into the Game Boy carts and the
Rumble packs they built into the Game Boy carts.
Yeah, so you could have time, like time in Pokemon and time in Zelda games, like
the sun sensor in Boktai.
Yeah.
Man, there's so many, like when they're stuck, they just make an add-on.
Right.
That's
probably my favorite WarioWare game is Twisted.
Yep, with the
accelerometer in the cart.
Yep. That's the innovation stuff that Nintendo's always good for, and that's again going back to what people are saying. There's some people who aren't knowledgeable enough to say, they're saying like, oh, the Steam Deck is going to, kill the Nintendo Switch. Yes, they're going to have competition, but it's not going to kill it. All these other innovative companies came out with the Game Gear, with the PSP, with the PS Vita. All these systems came out to compete with Nintendo's handhelds or systems, and people buy Nintendo systems knowing that they're not the most powerful, or maybe not knowing the most powerful, but they're buying them because they know what they're going to get from Nintendo IP.
Yeah, and they know and can trust that a Nintendo developed game will run well on a Nintendo developed hardware.
Yes. Yep. So, and with that too, Nintendo does have the advantage, since it was their device that they developed, that they usually come out with a good game at the beginning, but as they even get better with their system, the games get better towards the end of that life cycle of the system.
Like another innovation on later NES games is more memory on the cart that allowed for bank switching, because the system could only read so much memory at a time. Yeah. If the game was bigger than that, the program had to switch banks as to which ones were fed into this console at any one time. Which, leads to, like, the World 7 Wrong Warp in Mario 3.
Nice. So, yeah. And we're starting to get, this is the 5th year for the Switch, so we're starting to get to see a lot of the games that they're getting the hang of on. So, that's pretty exciting. And who knows what Nintendo has up their sleeve as far as, the innovations that they're going to have. Pushing the hardware, especially when Breath of the Wild 2 comes out. So Great. Another great question from the chat there. So, but that's it for the questions we have. Thank you, everybody, for submitting your questions. And again, you can always submit them through the various channels that we have, which I'll get into very, very shortly with the closer. Andros, thanks again for stopping by, as always. And before we go again, where can they find you?
You just search Nintendo Pals. Search Nintendo Pals. We're a Nintendo Pals podcast on all podcast platforms. And I'll give the quick handles: at Nintendo Pals on Twitter, at Nintendo Pals Podcast on TikTok and Instagram.
Perfect. Thank you again for stopping by. And obviously, you're always welcome here. And we always thank you for what you do in our community. So thank you very much.
Hey, you guys keep having me back, so it's all good. I was surprised. I was surprised I got invited back on. Like, oh, sweet.
It's okay. That's the Mega Dads say the same thing every time. So, you know.
Well, we are surprised that the Mega Dads get back on. That's a surprise every time.
Yes.
I don't listen to the Mega Dads because, you know, they're not the Nintendo Dads. You know?
Well,
but
quick story.
They're great guys over there.
The Nintendo Dads almost got in trouble because the Nintendo Mega Dads were on, and you know, because of language. So, or they did get in trouble. So whatever. But anyways,
that will never. Okay, so let me just throw out there that will never be a problem on the Nintendo Pals channel. We pride ourselves on being family friendly as well, and that's just part of who we are.
And the Mega Dads always say, "Don't let your children listen to us." So
yeah, they say earmuffs, everybody.
Yes.
At the start of every episode.
People, we have some community members that watch our show with their kids, so it's very, very different.
Same. So
different mentality.
All right. Well, let's take this on the way out. For YouTube, we've got reached 5,604 subscribers. We did drop down, but we're still above 5,600. So thank you to all our YouTube subscribers very much for subscribing, and you know, let other people know what you're watching, and especially if you've seen something you like, spread it around and let them know that we're a lot of fun here.
Smash that subscribe button.
Smash it.
And kick that like button and punch the share.
Do all that stuff. Flip a table on it.
Flip the tea table, yeah.
Flip the tea table.
We're also on Twitch, and thanks to all our followers on there, the 1,078 followers we got on there, and our 22 Twitch subscribers. And don't forget, if you do subscribe via Twitch, you get into our Discord communities and activities, just like if you were a Patreon subscriber. So, and then again, a huge thanks to our Patreon producers, Dave Ernsberger, Antonio Contrario, and Solo Something. And I always mess up Antonio's name. I'm so sorry. I don't know why.
Antonio Contronio.
Contronio. Thank you. I don't hear it enough apparently. So, but anyways, thank you to them, and thanks to all our Patreon subscribers for helping us keep the lights on and all that fun stuff. Check out our merch store via tpublic.com. And don't forget about the 20% off your Manscaped order with free shipping with code NINDADS. So, and I believe this might be the last week we do this. No, it'll be the 30th. So we might have one more day next week.
Well, if the code's not good on the 31st, I don't know if we should.
That's true. That's true. So just try to get your orders in if you can. So before our code runs out. Check out our website, nintendodads.org, where you can get our latest YouTube videos, tweets, and podcast episodes there. Links to all our social media and our Patreon pages there as well. And the link to our Nintendo Dads shop for Nintendo Dads merch. Or you can find us in all the places on the social media, on the interwebs, if you will. You can go via Patreon, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, any of those places. Find us Nintendo Dads. Or you can email us at nintendodads@gmail.com, or you can leave us a voicemail. Call in and leave it at 929-25-NDADS or 929-256-3237. Big thanks to OC Remix for the music throughout the show, as usual. And don't forget to download your favorite podcast, download our show via your favorite podcast app of choice. Either, like Castbox, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music, or Spotify, or any other ones that I may not have mentioned. And don't forget to give us a rating in iTunes or Apple Podcasts, wherever you do an Apple things. I don't know, because I don't have an Apple. But give us 5 stars if you can, please. Anything less, give it to the Mega Dads. So I would say we're fine with 4 and above. That's fine. And say something. Just, something is fine. Some words, something, anything. You can even say anything. Just do something fun. But thanks for listening. This is Tim trying to close out the show. Thanks for listening. You guys have a good night.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads.
Wobble Puffet? Wobble Buffet?
I don't know what animal this is or what Pokemon this